Okay, thank you, Lisa, for coming on to Marsh Minutes. This is a podcast where I talk to friends and business owners around town about marketing and business and social, anything that's kind of going on. So, Lisa is the co chair of Queen City Pride, which she's been at for several years, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is year 10. Year
Year
10.
10. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Uh,
I haven't been co-chair for all of those, but I've worked in some form on the board for the last 10 years.
Well, so we're going to talk about that, and then the other thing I do want to talk about is so you are the operations manager and big boss and all that stuff of a adult store in town called Industrial Love. So you
Yep.
kind of wear a lot of hats, but I think you've been able to provide a lot of insight to me just as a friend, and a lot of insight into the adult industry or adult toy industry because like how often do you educate people on that? Anything?
Daily, I say that I'm an adult educator, or like uh, sexual health educator by day, because there's so many folks that are not comfortable with asking these questions. It's still a very like sex generally is a very taboo subject when it comes to talking to friends or talking to family or talking to whatever. But talking to your doctor, it's still taboo. But they'll come into the store and tell us all of their dirty secrets and ask us to help because we're the experts. And so we do what we can.
Well, that's awesome. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Sue Johansson is still going around, but that was who we
Mhm.
had to kind of educate us on sex stuff. And
Yeah.
she was so frank about things that it was nice and refreshing. And I'm sure that that was probably something that you learned a lot about is her show and books. I don't know
I
if you've
actually got
read
to meet
them.
her back in the day,
Right. That was a couple years ago. She stopped by in Regina, right?
2009 or something.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Has it been that
I
long?
know. Yeah, I have the poster up on my wall, or I wouldn't know what year it was, but I got to keep the poster from the show. So,
Well,
because my friend of mine at the time was doing was working on on the Ursu board and helped put it together. So she hooked me up with a VIP invite to come chat with Sue and have dinner with Sue before the show.
that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Like I hope she's around forever and
Yeah.
that you could connect to her in that way too, right? Um,
Yeah. No, she's amazing.
well, so and kind of speaking of sex being taboo, uh,
Mhm.
this episode is going to kind of be an experiment to see if I get kicked off or what I get kicked off of. Just with this episode specifically, because as you're aware,
Mhm.
the internet as a whole and search engines don't quite
Mhm.
look too kindly towards like adult oriented subjects.
It's true. Yes. Yes. I'm familiar with this concept. It's true.
Well,
Mhm.
and it is even something too where pride will have a couple of things that get in the way or kind of hinder it from being as effective as it needs to be. But I do want to talk specifically about industrial love and how you guys deal with that on a day to day, whether it's search engines or social media. What
Mhm.
kind of things do you encounter there?
Fair enough. Yeah. We have like search engine wise, it's a little bit easier to sell in adult retail now than it was 10, 20 years ago. So folks are getting a little more open when it comes to stuff like that, which is nice. It's still a little bit of tiptoeing around to kind of get the exact right keywords and algorithms like working on your behalf, because otherwise there's kind of a clean side of like adult education and like sex education side of things. And then there's the more triple X rated adult video sort of, more naughty side of things that ends up popping up as well. And if you're an educator, you don't necessarily, sometimes the algorithms will pop you in the same category. They're like, adult is adult. It doesn't matter if you're talking frankly about a subject matter that people should know about, or if you're showing off your talents in being able to befriend multiple humans in one scene. um, but all of those things sometimes end up being lumped the same, but there is a lot more pushback over the last while um, for educators to be like, hey, this is something people need to know about. Like, people are going to do this whether you tell them what's up and what's down, anyways. We should at least inform people what's happening with their own bodies, with their friends' bodies, with their lovers' bodies, and try to uh, get people as much information as possible so they can make educated decisions with their lives and the lives of their loved ones. So,
Well, I know that you've had a big push for online retailing for
mm,
Industrial Love. Great timing for when COVID hit. How
Yeah.
has that been for you guys? Have you found yourself having a lot of success that way? Have you
Mhm.
found on the other side of it, people who won't come into your store, are they more comfortable ordering online? Even just local people.
Yeah, I definitely. The We've had an incarnation of our website throughout our entire history. We actually started as a web store first, like back in 2002, but then 2006 is when we got a brick and mortar store and started actually selling wares physically in a location. the Our website prior to like November of 2019 sucked. It existed, but it was not really great and operational or anything. We revamped it and ended up launching a new site November 2019. So it was just before kind of the COVID hit, and everything went online. So we were super lucky, just timing wise, that we could get all of our P's and Q's in order and figure out all of the major glitches before we went entirely digital. But it was nice to be able to have that accessible not only for local clientele but for international clientele. Like our stats are showing, we are getting hits from Australia and the UK and all over the United States. We're shipping stuff to the United States, so it's like that's pretty impressive for a little locally owned store in the middle of Saskatchewan. So
And how
that's
often are you checking those stats, and how often are you adjusting the way you're doing things based on those stats?
like daily. We check in on things pretty regularly. Uh, the Me and the website team will end up looking through stuff really regularly to kind of see where we're at, like pretty thoroughly at least once a week, but usually kind of try to keep our pulse on it, uh, daily, because everything changes moment to moment, and really try to move with the times. Like even uh, weird stuff like trying to from a retail level, when people start talking about things in store that they've seen online or other stuff, like especially since TikTok happened as being the big thing, there's a lot more educators or promotional stuff that will come out of that then we have to kind of react to. So
On
people will talk
TikTok.
about a particular, yeah, they'll talk about a particular toy or a particular book or a particular something, and then people will be like, do you have this thing? I saw on TikTok that there's this thing that exists, and I want this thing. And they're like, okay, cool, like I've never ever heard of that before, it sounds amazing, let's look into it and we'll get back to you. So it
When
ends
you
up being
have
this.
people who come in from TikTok, do they usually skew younger?
It's usually like in the 30s and under range. I haven't had yet, to at least for me, anyone that's in the 40s or 50s come in and be like, I saw something on TikTok. um, Usually there's other forms of media that other people will push towards, otherwise watching adult films and will see something in action that they want to bring into their own lives, or like Cosmo magazines will have a bunch of paid advertising when it comes to the newest hottest toys and that sort of thing, and so we'll have folks come in reading who have read one of those and saw something cool or all sorts of stuff. But
So when you
yeah.
say 40 to 50,
Mhm.
what's your age range for people coming into the store?
Everybody. Like we have people we're carding because they look like they're 12, but their 18th birthday is today. And we have folks that are coming. We have some regular couples that could be my grandparents' age. Like they're definitely, I am horrible at age guessing categories, but they're definitely, needing a cane to walk downstairs, white hair kind of age group. So yeah,
Is that a recent
it's
thing, or
everyone.
has this always been the case?
Um, it's always been the case to some degree. There's always like typically men have always been more allowed to be sexual, like historically speaking, as a society. So we've always had older men come in, um, and sometimes they're shopping on behalf of just themselves. Sometimes they're shopping on behalf of like their partners, because their partners are too shy and reserved to like come in and say stuff. But they've had the conversation at home, or they're going to surprise them, or whatever. But definitely over the last, I would say, maybe 6 years to 8 years, there's been more of an influx of folks that um, that are like female identified folks that are coming in with their partners or on their own, that they're widowed and they're coming in because they're not done having fun yet. And unfortunately, they're now newly singled to
Mm-hmm.
and figure out how to make that work in their lives. And so, yeah, a little bit of everything.
How often do people not leave happy?
Uh, I think that
I'm
like
talking
it's
people
retail, so
who engage
yeah,
in a general. They're making a purchase from you. They're kind
yeah,
of excited. Um, what I'm getting
like
at is
very
it kind of seems like
very rarely.
yeah.
Like I would say, like it's retail, so there's always going to be, and there's a we're limited by the physical size of our store. So like we only have so much square footage we can shove stuff into and put on the shelves, logistically speaking. So that's kind of our biggest limitation. It's not the fact that we like can't or won't or have some sort of like, ew, gross, like we can't bring that in. That's weird. Like, totally bring that in. If you want that, we'll bring that in. And so, but it's yeah, it's usually like physically limited space things. So people will come in, or they see the newest, hottest thing off the internets or something. They saw it somewhere, at some point, and they're like, "Hey, I want this thing," or like, "That's really cool." Actually, they don't like make that available for wholesale yet, so we don't have access to it. So we'll try to like get something that's similar because there's a lot of like other brands that'll make something similar that's
It's not the
to some of
first
the hot
one.
selling items and that sort of thing. Or it'll be folks who are coming in like there's weird zoning bylaws in the city and
Mm.
we're not in the right zone to carry any adult movies or magazines. So people will come in looking for that sort of thing, and then we have to be like, sorry, we can't,
I don't
don't
think
have
that's
access
really
to
in your
that, can't
MO to
get that.
carry that though, right? Like you guys are more of an education, um,
I
and
think if we had more space, like I worked at a movie magazine store previous to my career here at Industrial Love, and it's a different vibe of folks who come in because they definitely have a different kind of intent in mind. Um, and then the amount of floor space that's required to have a decent selection of movies and magazines is like substantial. So we would need to have like double the square footage we currently have to be able to like offer that as a thing. Because otherwise we'd literally be taking away all of the stuff that does sell in our store currently and replacing it with stuff that is unsure because a lot of folks just get their content online now. Um, there's still like definitely folks who rely on like physical media, whether it be an age and thing. Like there's definitely older folks, my generation and up, that will end up being very keen on physical media still. But then there's folks who just whether it be folks in rural areas where their internet connection sucks. So if you're only getting 5 megabits up, like you're not going to be able to like download your favorite movie, whether it be from Netflix or otherwise. So it's like a tech issue, or it's a discretion issue that it's way easier to pop something in your laptop and have a private moment, in the office by yourself than trying to, download something off the, smart TV in the living room
mm-hmm.
and, not explain this to the other members of your household what's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you bring a lot of people happiness. That's what I was kind of getting to the point of, not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
talking about the retail issues, but you're enriching a lot of people's lives, and it's something that people are becoming kind of more open of. And I don't want to use the term less ashamed, but maybe more prideful, which is a segue into
Yeah.
other stuff that we want to talk about, which is so you're the co-chair of QCP, Queen City
Yep.
Pride, and you have been for 10 years now, which is crazy. Um,
Yeah, I've been on the board for 10 years. I've been co-chair for now. This is my fourth year as co-chair, but I had 1 year I was co-chair. I was off for a couple of years while other people got voted in, and then this will be Pride number 3 as being co-chair. So
what a
yeah.
again, much like the website being changed over for COVID.
Mm,
This is the part of the show where we always talk about COVID because it's always affected
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
But like so, QCP last year that would have fallen right when everything was right in the thick of things.
Mm.
So how has that changed from last year to this year to what it's been without COVID or restrictions?
It's definitely really challenging to be an event producer during a period of time where you're not allowed to see people. It's definitely been a challenge to find ways that we can still safely get together or safely share experiences without endangering folks and without kind of breaking health orders. So a lot of content, like generally, as you might have noticed over this last year, has gone digital because that is the safest way that we can still see each other's faces without having to share the same germs. But it's also trying to find events during Pride that'll bring people together um, that are kind of like semi-physical or stuff you can kind of do in your small pod, like or stuff that takes some time, some some of your day, but not like you can do kind of at your leisure throughout the entire week, as opposed to it being an event that only takes place over like a few hours. Like this year we have and last year we had like a scavenger hunt, so that you can actually go around town and get to take pictures, selfies of yourself in front of landmarks or locations or with particular people or whatever it is on the list, so that you can kind of gain points that way, which still means you could do it with your pod, you could do it with your roommates or your family or whatever, because you're outdoors for most of it. But
When you do that, how do you engage with other members of the community with that? Do you guys have it set up on Facebook or other kind
yeah,
of
so then
messaging?
we'll end up, yeah, we'll using social media to like social media to push out the invites and everything to begin with, and then afterwards, there's usually prizes involved for the team that does the most running around. It gets the most points, and so then they'll get a little bit of a prize package. It ends up being kind of like one of those together alone things, like being able to have the same, because a lot of the points of contact are similar. Like you have to go stand in front of the same statue or building or whatever, that the likelihood you can run into other people who are also taking selfies in front of that space is high as well. So
That's very cool. Was that just something you guys thought of as we need to do something? Let's come up with like a fun game or fun
mhm.
engagement.
Yeah, we were looking at different ways. This was kind of our brainchildren from last year, was trying to figure out interesting, dynamic ways we could kind of get involvement without hurting people. And especially last year, like there was definitely restrictions, and we had the lockdown, and we were trying to like plan through as the lockdown kind of happened right before what would have typically been Pride season. And yeah, one of our board members came up with this idea as a scavenger hunt, and so ran with that, and they were able to put all the pieces together to make that happen. And it seemed like everyone had a really good time last year with that. So we did it again this year.
Awesome. Um, so now, because it's Pride Month, there's one thing I do want to talk about, and so I refer to it incorrectly as rainbow washing. What it is, from what you told me, is pink washing, which is when
Mm-hmm.
companies co-opt the messaging of Pride to paint their logo a rainbow and
Mm-hmm.
say we love the gays.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is something that I think warrants a lot of discussion amongst anyone else, and everyone should probably talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of give me your breakdown as someone who's involved in Pride about pink washing and kind of your thoughts behind that?
Definitely. So we at Queen City Pride over the course of the last like 10 years have had many conversations about how we as an organization want to deal with like the concept of pink washing, try to discourage it from happening before it kind of gets to the point where it does. It definitely ends up being, we try to build lasting relationships with organizations still. Like we still need the help from like not only the community, but different partnerships, both financial, in kind, etc. So but we want to make sure that those connections are authentic, and they are uh, not just there to slap a rainbow on stuff and call it a day, and then like 2 weeks later not return our calls kind of thing. Like it's definitely an interesting balance to try to keep, uh, because it is, if you are not a community member, it is very hard to forget about stuff. Like when it's not Christmas, unless you're a Christmas fanatic, you're not thinking about Christmas. Except for our Christmas ends up being our lives all the time. So that we get this kind of small chunk of the year that we get to celebrate and kind of be, rainbows on the streets and a little bit more out and about and prideful. It is uh, challenging to keep corporations kind of in control as well, to make sure that they're not forgetting about us when it's not June.
It breaks my heart that you refer to it as Christmas because I don't think it's Christmas. I don't think it's necessarily like a holiday or celebration. And we all know how corporations and companies feel about Christmas and how they
Mm-hmm.
treat that, which is extremely unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it's a discussion that you guys have, and I know that you and other pride organizations around the country talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
You guys use each other as a resource, and so I'm sure that that's something that not even just the Queen City Pride organization speaks about, but the greater community.
Yeah, yeah, we like Queen City Pride is part of Fierta Canada Pride, which is the national pride organizers group. And so it's all the different prides across Canada who are able to then kind of share resources and share like networking opportunities, resources, information, etc., to kind of all get on the same page about stuff, so that none of us have to kind of be in our own little bubbles reinventing the wheel. We can just be like, hey, like we're having an issue with blah. I know that, X Pride over here, had that same discussion the year previous. Maybe we can ask for some advice on what their thought process was or how they handled it or whatever. Because we're a smaller pride still, but we're getting to be kind of medium sized, that it is a lot of obstacles were kind of occurring now that, like, Toronto Pride or Vancouver Pride, happened to them when they were getting to this size or whatever it is too. So we're kind of jumping through all these hurdles and figuring stuff out, but we don't have to figure it out alone anymore, which is nice.
Well, I don't want to think of it as doom and gloom, but I definitely don't want to be the harbinger of any kind of doom and gloom. Uh, I don't feel like there's a lot of bad faith when it comes to people supporting Pride. I feel like there might
Mm-hmm.
be doing it for the wrong reasons. Would you say that's
In our experience here, I know some other places there's more horror stories, so to speak, about like stuff going awry. But I found generally in our community, like in Regina in Saskatchewan, that folks who work with us and who have approached us want to do so genuinely. That we haven't had folks come in and then, like, never to be seen again as much. It's been folks who want to be here and want to be here permanently. Like they want to permanently be by our side, be pals, and help us in whatever way, in a genuine way, whatever way they can. So that's very nice, and that's
what kind of support specifically would be beneficial to you guys from these companies?
like obviously financial. Like that's not the number one thing, but it definitely, like finances. We can't keep this boat running unless we have finances to do so. We're different resources from stuff, like we'll have folks donate prizes, donate volunteers, donate other kind of gifts in kinds, so accounting or other things where like accountants will step up and help us out, kind of free of charge, that sort of thing. um, what else? All sorts of stuff. So it's not just, throwing money at us and then like slapping a rainbow on their shirt and calling it a day. It's, actual like relationships where we can say, like, okay, you have a talent, you're a business that does a thing, so let's work together, and like you can use your talents and skills to kind of help us out, and we'll use our talents and skills to help you out, and we'll promote you, as we can, and kind of it's a partnership more than it is a sponsorship. So.
Well, outside of the gay Christmas, uh, how can they continue to support the community, not just Queen City Pride, the community outside of that, small couple weeks slash month?
Oh, in many ways, to um, look at the like policy changes within your own corporation. There's definitely going to be oversight, especially when it comes to the LGBTQ communities. So having the ability to have, part any partner go on a, um, paternity or maternity leave. If there's a child that comes to them, is nice, because sometimes the workplaces only allow for the birth mother to be able to go away on maternity leave. So adding things like that into policy, where all partners can go away for a time and be with the new child. Watching the language in your policies. A lot of times people will gender their policies and say, like, only have one particular type of pronoun in it. Usually it's he, but to even just take the gendering out of your workplace policies. When like doing like forms and stuff like that, keep an eye on your gender there as well, because having male or female being the only options available is not a thing anymore. There's all sorts of different genders. There's having usually a lot of bigger corporations will end up having kind of subcommittees involved that will be like diversity committees or pride committees within the organization, and they can kind of help from the inside build, help address blind spots within the individual work community, because each workplace has their own different stuff going on, so it's hard to kind of blanketly say what, X, Y, or Z company is doing wrong. But the employees will definitely, who are living it day to day, will definitely let you know if you listen to them. So
What you're saying is there's a lot.
There's still definitely a lot of work to do, and a lot of it ends up being just paying attention. And like a lot of folks, if like I said, if it's not your lived experience day to day, you might forget about it. And like that's human nature. Like out of sight, out of mind, object permanence is really tough sometimes. And if you're when you're surrounded by rainbows and stuff like that, definitely get more acclimatized to them being around. But yeah, kind of get just gonna keep.
You guys don't just deal with Pride. You guys are a year-round organization. I don't think a
Yeah.
lot of people realize that, and you're full of resources and community
Hmm.
events all throughout the year. And
Hmm.
you can usually find that stuff on your website and social, which I've actually posted at the top there for both
Yeah.
Industrial Love and Queen City Pride. Um, and yeah, I hope a lot of people will even reach out to see how they can support or learn a little bit from the resources you guys do apply, which is great.
Thanks. Yeah, I hope everyone reaches out. We're around, whether it be at the store or with Pride, to answer questions or with Pride get involved. With Pride, we have all of our events for this week are online on our website, and we also have other resources and up to date stuff where you can follow us on social media, which is posted around here somewhere.
Mhm.
And yeah, and if you have any questions related to the store and to the products we sell there or anything, you can always like call us or text us, same number, email, Facebook,
Mhm.
Instagram. You can try
Well,
to tweet at us.
I'm usually like I'm still trying to figure out how to do the podcast and how to record and how to like kind
Mm-hmm.
of lay out. And I have a couple in the bank, but this one is actually going up tomorrow because I want to get it out because it is relevant. It is uh
Mm-hmm.
Pride is still happening until when's the last day?
Yeah. This coming Sunday, the 13th.
Okay.
So, and the parade is happening the 12th, this Saturday.
Okay, so what I did want to do is I wanted you to take some time and talk about maybe some of the stuff that's happened already, but like promote the stuff that's going to be happening this weekend.
So this weekend, there's a handful of things happening. On Friday night, there is a poetry reading at the Creative City Center. That they're doing some slam poetry there. The Saturday is the parade, which is what everyone always talks about. It is a hybrid parade, so it's a car parade that'll be the live part to be within restrictions. But then we're broadcasting it live on our social media as well as on Access Communications, who is a wonderful partner with us and who's donated their time to come and help us out doing the live stream for that. And so that's happening Saturday at noon. And then Saturday afternoon, there's a digital drag show at 3 o'clock. And then there's another drag show that's happening at 7 p.m., all online from
Where can
the
people view
RSAR.
that?
The links will all be on our website
Okay.
at queencitypride.ca. Our Pride Guide this year is digital. Usually we have a physical copy that we'll spread around town, but with COVID and everything, we want to make sure get least touchy the, the better. So everything's online
I'll make sure
right
to
on.
include all that stuff in the show
Yeah,
notes and links and everything.
awesome.
So,
And then Sunday we have a big gay wedding happening. So there's going to be 3 o'clock. We're going to live stream it again on our social media and stuff as well. And there is going to be a multi-group big gay wedding. So multiple couples are going to be officially bound together in wedlock with a
wow.
drag queen. Whereas the drag queen is going to be the
Officiating?
officiator,
Yeah.
yeah, officiating the ceremony. Miss Flamingo, who is legally allowed to marry people in town and does officiating in and out of drag. So if you
I
would
just
like a
want to
drag queen to
say
marry you,
if anyone hasn't seen Flamingo, actually, Flamingo was also on the Rebellion podcast too. And Matt, who's a
mm-hmm.
friend of mine, like loved it. It was one of his favorite episodes to record. So, like, if you haven't seen Drag or you haven't seen Flamingo, like,
Yeah.
check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah,
So,
so that is going to happen, or it's going to be streamed as well, because like the immediate family are encouraged to come to the event itself, but obviously with all the restrictions and stuff, still we're encouraging people who are not immediate family to come view from their favorite casting space wherever that happens to be and watch us online.
mhm. Wonderful. And then that rounds out the Pride Week, and
That's the official week. There's a few events happening after Pride Week because Pride Month kind of takes over, and then there's some folks that'll just want to do something for the month, but for whatever reason wasn't able to get it together for this week. Usually because the week fills up a lot too, so in order for them to not kind of be competing with other like events, they'll kind of postpone it till the following week or something, so they will do stuff. But yeah, but
so
everything's online, so
well, beyond that, what about fundraising opportunities where people can support you guys monetarily or purchase some merchandise? Like, what else do you have going on there?
so we do have an online store at store.queencitypride.ca, and it sells a bunch of rainbow merch, from like t-shirts to jewelry to flags. We have a little bit of everything. We're definitely looking a little on the lower side for stock right now, so apologies. We've been super busy, uh, but check it out there. We are otherwise delivering locally around town, or for the next couple days, or we're doing Thursday and Friday nights. We're doing pickup at the Pride office as well. So if you want your stuff before the parade day, then you can come nab it from us then.
This 50-50 going on. What's that going
Oh
on
yeah,
about?
yeah. We have the Pride 50/50. It was, what was the total? I think it was just shy of $2,000 when I
Uh,
looked last.
$3,000 when I bought my
Three thousand
tickets.
dollars, excellent. Yeah, no, the last few days it just like it's like slow going, and then like the week of Pride, it just like doubles and triples as soon as like stuff happens. So yeah, Pride 50/50. So it's pride5050.ca is the website, and it's an all digital draw that's happening, and it's available to anyone inside Saskatchewan. So it's actually the first time that the 50/50 has been not geo blocked outside of Regina. So it's all of Saskatchewan now. So
Wonderful.
it doesn't, yeah. So come do put some money in the pot, and hopefully you're the winner, and you can walk off with over $1,500 now.
Well, and maybe more, right? Because it's
Yeah,
not going to be
and
drawn
probably
until
more.
the end of Pride Week or
Yeah,
Sunday.
yeah,
I think I'm
yeah,
not sure.
yeah. Sunday at I think 5 I was the draw time.
Wow, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I normally only have a couple minutes at the end because people only have so many things going on or so many things they want to promote. But I know you have so much, and this is why I want to get you on
Mhm.
right away. Do you have anything else you want to round it off with and talk about what's going on? Industrial Love or Queen City Pride or anything you're passionate about otherwise either.
Well, I really hope that people support local. Like generally, this last year, at the store at Industrial Love, we wouldn't have been able to make it through if it wasn't for fine folks coming to support us. We are locally owned and operated, and have been and will be. So it's really nice that that folks are believe in us. That they think we're kind of cool cats and want to come and uh, come see us and support us there. And with Pride, I really hope to see some folks out at the parade. We are allowing physical attendance on the parade route, which is also posted online. We do encourage folks to, though, who are coming out, to wear your mask, stay social distanced, bring some sanitizer, all that fun stuff as well. Um,
Awesome. Well, hey,
yeah.
it's always nice to chat with you, and I'm so thankful I was able to get you right
Yeah.
now. And I want to get Dan, who's the other co-chair,
Hmm.
on, but I know that he's like super crazy, busy, all Pride every single time.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. And I really hope things just kick ass for the rest of the weekend for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lisa, for being on. And any information that anyone wants is going to be in the show notes. Hopefully, I get everything. If not, you can find queencitypride.ca or any of the social. You could dig around. They got stuff going on all the time. Okay. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks.